It is a glorious fall morning here in the Kettle Moraine Forest, and it is, of course, the home of Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin's Road America, America's National Park of Speed, and we are here at this historic venue for the historic 60th running of SCCA's National Championship Runoff. Our coverage today is presented by Mazda. I'm Greg Creamer. Larry McLeod is alongside, but the third member of our team is down in front of a field of ready-to-scream Formula 600 class cars. Hayward, can't wait for this one to get underway.
Yeah, guys, we do have a little bit of an emergency situation in the paddock this morning. The coffee shop is not open yet, and most of the event officials run on caffeine. So we're going to have to substitute these little things that are basically motorsports espresso. Bike motors in the back, very little aero, little wheels, little tires, but a whole lot of speed. This is your pole sitter, Calvin Stewart, and Calvin has had a runaway and hide approach to this race for the last couple of years. I asked him if he was running a strategy race or pure pace. He looked at me and said, both. Right behind him is Finn DeVries. He's outside pole, and Finn's goal is to try to stay on the back of this car for as long as he possibly can. Now, we've seen these guys run together before, and what we usually see is a race that if they stay together, you start seeing the testing happening about 3 or 4 laps in, seeing who can pass who where, trying to get ready for that last lap. So break out your chessboards. This is going to be a pretty cerebral race.
Yeah, I believe so, and that front row has 4 gold medals between them, so it should be pretty spectacular. Now, these cars on this track, Larry, this is a 4-mile track. It is outright speed. That tends to be where Calvin excels, is on the fast tracks. Take us around this remarkable facility. These cars should put on a show.
They absolutely will. These things are rocket ships, especially in a straight line. You go from turn 14 down to turn 1, they will be screaming 140 plus down the front straight. They'll be sliding and moving the cars down through turn 1, 100 miles an hour, down the hill into 3. From turn 3, the back straight all the way under the Sargento Bridge, 146 mile an hour trap speed for Cal Stewart this week. He's going to be screaming, and then they're going to go 2 and 3 wide down the hill into turn 5. You'll watch the cars slide and slip as they come up turn 6, turn 7, down the hill, down to 8. If they're side by side, there'll be a lot of action in that area. Carousel, these cars will move around quite a bit. They will be going down the hill from 10, carousel to the 11. The kink, they'll be flat through the kink, running all the way down to Canada, where it's going to be very shadowy, lots of leaves on the ground down there. Could be a little treacherous, could be fun to watch. Coming out at 12, they're going to come up the hill around Bill Mitchell Bend at 13, and then maybe we'll see a couple of moves for passing even into 14 before they come down that long straight again.
Yeah, it should be interesting because this track with these long duration corners tend to favor longer wheelbase cars for stability. That's not a Formula 600 class here, layout. These cars they're twitchy, they're crazy fun to watch, and this race should be spectacular. The run to the gold in Formula 600 will be coming up in just a minute. Stay with us.
Choose joy. Choose your calling. Choose to really care. Choose to go for it. Just choose. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
I wake up.
Okay, track day checklist. Let's go. You got your gloves, your helmet, water, snacks, sunscreen, your car is prepped and ready to go. Oof, forgot your track day insurance, didn't you? If you want to be covered for the whole value of your car, you need high-performance driver education coverage through Hagerty. We'll get you a policy for track days, time trials, and more in less time than it took you to apply that sunscreen. Hagerty, let's drive together.
Choose to get in there. Even better, get out there. Way out there. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
I wake up.
Welcome back, everybody. Here comes our field of the Formula 600 cars. And before I get into the grid, real quick, Larry, let's talk about these cars. And there are different power plants that can be used in this class.
There are the first couple of rows out there. They're going to be running the Suzuki 600cc bike motors that Hayward was talking about. They're 6-speed gearboxes straight out of motorcycles. But you go a little further back at James Wida. I think he's back there on about the third row. He's the first of the two-strokes. He's going to have a 593, what they call 593 HO, kind of a high output 593. It is a two-stroke out of a snowmobile, drivetrain out of a snowmobile. It's a clutching system, CVT as you will. Those are going to behave very differently. They got a lot of torque coming off the corners because they hit their peak power early. They're also carbureted, whereas the bike motors are all fuel injected. So this morning, cool temps, it's really important to nail the carburation just right. Get your jetting spot on. Not easy to do on a twin-cylinder, finicky snowmobile motor, but there's a guy outside here, Mel Winnie, does this a lot. There's a few other motors in the field. There's a regular 593, not HO, similar. There may even be a couple of 494s, which is the older version of these motors. Go back in the day, there were 440s in this field as well. There's been an evolution of different motors, but they all come in here in a pretty well balance between the 593s and the four-cylinder bike motors.
And not a lot of suspension, so curbs, you want to stay away from them here.
Yeah, a lot of the curbs. There's a couple of flat ones you can get away with, some on the corner exit. They are basically a puck type of suspension, so there are moving control arms. The rear end does have a system that moves, but it's all very limited movement. But they're also a stick axle, like a go-kart, so the left wheel and the right wheel are absolutely connected. There is no differential, so it means you've got to lift the inside to get them to move. A lot of rotation, a lot of sliding. Also means a lot of transfer of any bumps from inside to outside, which makes these things so much fun to watch.
Spectacular to watch. If you haven't seen them before, folks, you're going to love it. Let's go through our starting lineup. Tire Rack Pole Award winner, well, two-time gold medalist Calvin Stewart, the 07, and that is that very slippery Novacar Suzuki. Starting outside of the front row, also a two-time gold medalist, making his fourth runoff start, Sven de Vries in another Novacar. Calvin, by the way, this will be his 14th start. In the third spot, a very experienced driver, the 43 of Aaron Ellis. He had a gold medal as well back in 2000 at Mid-Ohio. 26th start for his number 43, and that's the Ellis AE13 Suzuki. Starting in the fourth spot, a rookie, the number 83, Ethan Alexander, out of Grafton, Wisconsin, right down the road here in a Red Devil Suzuki. Starting in the fifth spot, the number 78, fifth runoff start, defending silver medalist Jason Martin, who is one of the most spectacular car control drivers you're ever going to see. Then you've got the sixth starting spot, the number 22 of James Wida, making his 16th runoff start. He too is a former gold medalist right here at Road America in the Scorpion. Starting in the seventh spot, the number 46, fifth runoff start for Eric McRae. He's a two-time bronze medalist, a third place finisher here in a Nova Race Blade. Really, really slippery machine. Starting in the eighth spot, the number 19, 23rd runoff start for David Lapham. He's got 6 medals, none of them gold though. He'd like to address that today. Starting in the ninth spot, the 04, making his second runoff start, Rick Escala from Tomahawk, Wisconsin, another hometown favorite in the Quadrini Invader. Starting in the 10th spot, the number 58, 16th runoff start for Corey McLeod in the Red Devil Aero Rotax. Starting in the 11th spot, the number 86, making his 5th runoff start, George Bugg in the Scorpion. Starting in the 12th spot, the number 44, 5th runoff start for Jay Beckley in an Ellis. Starting in the 13th spot, number 64, making his 15th runoff start, Jeff Jorgensen. He's a two-time medalist as well. Would like to make and add to that, obviously, stack of metal that he's got there. Starting in the 14th spot, a very experienced driver, but not so much in these machines. The number 84 of Eric Van Cleef. He is a former gold medalist, but back in 1991 at Road Atlanta in Showroom Stock C. This is his 21st runoff start in Novacar Suzuki. Starting 15th is the number 15, 6th runoff start for Robert Gray in a Novacar Suzuki. Starting 16th, the rookie, the 98 of Glenn Thielke out of Rubicon, Wisconsin, and a Red Devil. Starting 17th, the 38 of Steve Johndal, our Hawk Breakthrough Performance winner, as a two-time bronze medalist here in his Red Devil. Then starting in the 18th spot, the number 67 is Jack Walbrod, making his 32nd runoff start. He was the bronze medalist in 2018 at Sonoma, driving a Scorpion. Starting 19th, the number 66, 10th runoff start for Timothy Friest in his KBS. That is an old chassis. I think one of the prettiest cars that has ever run in this category. Starting in the 20th spot, the number 40, a rookie, Paul McBride in a Stinger TR1 Rotax. Starting 21st, another rookie, the 05, Richard Jones, also in a Stinger TR1 Rotax. And at the back of the field, in the 22nd starting spot, 6th runoff start for the 55 of Keith Joslin. He is a very fast driver.
Yes, he
Problems in qualifying. We'll see if he's going to be able to address that.
Watch for the cold tires this morning. We were the first race of the day. It's super cold. Cal Stewart, typically conservative. Sven de Vries can be aggressive. We know Jason Martin is very aggressive. Watch for the white car and the red and black.
All right, we're green. Race for the gold in Formula 600 kicks off our final day of runoffs competition, and Calvin Stewart gets a nice little jump here, and that thing is slippery. You can tell by the design of it. And he leads comfortably into turn 1. De Vries slots into that second spot. And something a little bit out and over the curb there. I think you're right, Larry. Everybody looks to be very, very genteel on this opening lap.
Yeah, looking at Ethan Alexander there up into that third spot. He's just being a little cautious there. A little bit of a slide under brakes. He's got a little bit of a puff of smoke coming out of that left rear. I don't know if that's maybe just a little rubbing from that bodywork that's in there. I'm not sure what that is on Ethan. But Cal Stewart, an absolute rocket ship in a straight line. But so far, Sven doing a great job of staying in the draft.
Looking at an inside move and not quite there. Decides to shift back right a little bit. Improved the line, but he got a much better drive out of the turn. Stewart moves over to defend De Vries, just bouncing around behind him, trying to get in his mirrors. A little bit of activity down there in turn 5. Meanwhile, up through turn 6, a couple of guys doing battle to 78. That's Jason Martin. I would think on cold tires in these conditions, we might see him moving to the front because he has no problem slinging it.
The rest of the drivers of the field thought the same thing, that he'd be the one to watch on the cold tires, as well as Sven de Vries. Sven, these days living up in Michigan, he's got some history in some other places that are cold in the world. And he can definitely race on cold tires. Keep your eye on him as one of the younger drivers in the field. Here you got James Weida as well. He's now finally getting on the pipe there. He's the one. He's the fastest generally of the two-strokes. See him do that 4 spot just a little bit back. This front 3, though, staying together. This really plays in the hands of De Vries and Ethan Alexander, the 2 youngest drivers in the field.
Doing a superb job right now. They've got that little bit of a break as they head down for the first time. One of the fastest parts of this track into Canada Corner. You see some oil drive from a big oil down from yesterday. Big miss of the braking zone.
That's Jason Martin.
Yeah, he just completely missed that turn in. Finally brings it back on. And I don't know that he lost many spots, but he sure lost a lot of distance.
I think that's that aggressiveness that we expected. Unfortunately, the car wasn't ready.
There is something coming off the back of that third-place car, isn't there?
Just a little bit. I wonder. So there's a bit of body work that runs down the center of the back of that car, and it's just got a little bit. I wonder if it's moving a little bit. Sometimes the body work shifts on these things. I'm hoping it'll just sort of quote-unquote self-clearance.
Look at Calvin right down the middle of the track saying if you're going to do it, you got to do it inside or outside. And neither of them up for that right now. Aaron Ellis, a good run, and we expected. He's qualified in 3rd. Got pipped a little bit here, back into the 5th spot. Eric McRae in 6th. Jason Martin has faded to 7th. But yeah, there's something, or is that? I wonder if that bodywork is scraping on the ground.
It could be on the ground as well, which again, hopefully that. As they say, clearance hits itself here pretty soon. I talked to Sven about an hour ago, and obviously a little bit of nerves before the race, but he's got a lot of experience. The little experience that he has, he's been running against Cal. There's a couple of guys, both from Michigan. They see a lot of each other, and he was hoping to do exactly this, stay in Cal's mirrors and make Cal defend, make Cal think about it, because sometimes Cal, maybe you can distract him a little bit. Cal's a veteran. He's got those 2 gold medals, but he can be rattled a little bit, and I think that's what Sven's trying to do right now, and Ethan, I think, is going to come up, and they're both going to probably tag team him here and trying to keep Calvin off his game.
Well, and the thing is if you can get the guy you're chasing to defend into corners, he's not running then the fastest line like that. And you see Calvin get a little bit of a wiggle, and Sven de Vries is going to try and pop to the outside. Again, in this long, never-ending carousel, these short wheelbase cars tend to dance a lot.
Yeah, look at the 4th-place car, though. That's Weida. He's generally a slower starter, tends to like to bring the car up to temp, as well as you got to get heat in the pipe. You got to get this thing warmed up. And look how close now with the battling up front that he's going to take advantage of that and close up on these guys.
Yeah, he is coming and absolutely using every piece of road in the very tricky kink here. Another one of those long duration, super fast corners. And you can see at this point, DeVries almost had to defend a little bit on Alexander, but man, he actually got a great run into and through Canada corner, made up that deficit that he had to Cal Stewart, up and through Billy Mitchell. Really tricky corner, and now setting up. Oh, I thought Ethan Alexander was going to take a dive there on Sven and trying to get in Sven's mirrors here, and off we go. But coming right now, you're right, Wida really putting a lap together. I wouldn't be surprised to see him with fast lap at the end of this one. He is absolutely flying out there right now. Let's see if he does. No. It's Stewart. Well, actually, it's Eric McRae.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a quick lap, a 2:22.7.
Yeah, Eric also. I think he may be trying to follow a little bit behind Aaron Ellis and James Wida to try and get close. You may actually see all 6 of these get together here for a fight. But as you watch, Cal Stewart's lap is a 23.6. DeVries Alexander also similar. The guys behind running 22, so there's that time delta. Cal Stewart qualified at a 2:19. He was on pace for something in the low 18s. Maybe even had a shot at a high 17. Ran out of fuel in the last lap of qualifying on Wednesday and was not able to get that lap in. So he's got the pace. Everyone else knows it. The fact that he's running 23 now tells me that this pressure from DeVries is really getting to him.
Pressure from DeVries and maybe these cool temps. And obviously...
Yeah, that little twitch there turning into 6.
Yeah, we've seen him have that a couple of times here. And look at Wida. He has caught that group. We have a 4-car... scrum here for the lead here, and with the pace Wida has caught them, I wouldn't be surprised to see him, like right now, diving to the inside and gets down underneath Alexander. Alexander runs a little bit wide, and that was Wida pretty aggressive on the exit there, but he's hungry.
He's getting a great job to dive down inside there, and then the instant torque you get out of the 2-stroke. See the big pipe sticking out the back, all for the glory of it, sticking right out of there.
Yeah.
And it's a great torque off the corner. Alexander's got to make the downshifts in his 4-stroke. It's a little bit more work for him. Now look at the pressure on the back of Sven.
And watch Wida here and see if he's going to make that move down into Canada. You know DeVries is going to defend, and that is allowing Calvin Stewart to get away. But Wida goes, all right, I'll look outside, but then has to tuck back in. And, with that constant velocity tranny, that snowmobile clutch that uses the weights and springs and everything to engage, it's an interesting approach to driving it going into a corner where you're braking to keep the revs up.
Yeah, you want to keep the revs up. If you're in a lot of corners, you do get some engine braking for you, but on the slower stuff, you sort of lose that. The car tends to sort of upset a little bit at slower speeds, but you watch him manage that. Now look at this. Look at the straight line speed he's got, and he's using the draft behind Sven DeVries.
Yep, a little bit of a side toe right there. Tucks back in again. And let's see if he's going to make the move to the inside. He's there. He's coming. Deep on the brakes goes James Wida. Gets it done. Does DeVries have the pace at the exit to cut down underneath? Could not make that work. Now, does Wida have the speed to go after that last lap? Wida, first guy into the 221s by a ton, Larry.
Yeah.
He turned to 221.1.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying. Now take a look. They've already got some lap traffic that they're having to work with here on the back straight. They should clear that, the whole front pack, before they get down to 5.
All right, let's watch it here. It is Ethan Alexander now 4th, Aaron Ellis in 5th, Eric McRee in 6th, and Jason Martin just not able to make up much time at all here.
He ran a great lap, though. Martin ran also at 2:21, but he's just left himself such a deficit here early. We're going to keep an eye on his pace. The other one I want to mention is Keith Jocelyn. You mentioned he had those issues this week in qualifying. Started as absolutely dead last. He's already up to 8th.
Wow, now that is a drive. And remember, we do have a Sunoco Hard Charger Award, and that looks like Jocelyn might be an early contender for that. Now, down into turn 8, and there you see the cutback move, that torque you were talking about, and he's going right around the outside of Calvin Stewart. We have a new leader. It is James Wida. Keep in mind, folks, when he came by start-finish last lap, he was 3rd. This is a great drive.
It is, and I think he might have baited Cal Stewart, maybe even to a missed shift. But look at this. They're going to maybe go side-by-side to the kink. The curbing's got to be cold and really rough this morning. Wida able to slide right over it. But here comes DeVries.
Yeah, DeVries really got a good run on those two. And he's through. He has made it back through and into that second spot. And so And you can see, that torque coming out of the corners versus the straight line speed of the motorcycle-powered F600s. It's just sort of an interesting byplay, isn't it? And Ethan Alexander's back in. Aaron Ellis is putting in some nice laps, too.
I'm
He's
watching
closed up a
Jason
bit.
Martin. No, I'm not going to take my eyes off of him. You can see him in the
There
back
he
of that
is.
shot. I think he's gotten his way around McCree. Martin is definitely on a charge, especially with the fighting in the front.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch what he can do here. Right there, you see the top end of DeVries, but watching braking. Let's see if Weida can get a little bit more of a toe. Pops to the inside, goes for it. But a little bit too late, and DeVries able to swing right around. But that's going to give Alexander a run down into 3 potentially. Oh, I love that sound.
Yeah, the little blips there of those bike engines going down. You talk about the top end. So DeVries with the 4-stroke Suzuki. Weida over there with the 2-stroke. 2-stroke's got that great torque off the corners, but the 4-stroke spike motors, they've got the pull down the long stretches. And you could see it there on the front straightaway. Weida now has to do it in other parts of the track. Look at this, though. Using the draft, Weida might have an opportunity here on DeVries.
Yep, and Weida's been great on the brakes and just uses that wider outside line, flows through the corner, and actually makes up a little bit on Calvin Stewart in doing so. Stewart, last time through the speed traps, 144.5 miles an hour. That tells you an awful lot about just how quick these small but very, very high-performance machines are.
Yeah, well, Keith Jocelyn, he'll be coming on too, and he's in one of the 2-stroke motors.
Ooh!
Oh, look at this.
That may have been almost a little touch there, and that's really going to park Weida. Here comes Sven DeVries, and that gives Calvin that little bit of margin.
Well, that was that corner that the last time Calvin got beat, and this time he wanted to hold that line.
Exactly.
And we're not going to give anything to Weida.
What a great battle this is. Ellis coming up, closing, making this maybe a 5-car group. Whoa, Weida way wide through the kink, using every piece of road. And here comes Alexander, maybe around the outside of DeVries. Is he going to be able to make this work? He's got position, but decides, nope.
That young driver, Ethan Alexander, a good conservative, knows that this race has still got a lot of laps to go. He's playing it conservative, watching the fighting in front of him and not necessarily driving his tires off yet.
It's interesting how that line of oil dry has made this the run into Canada corner about a third less wide. Everybody staying off that.
Yeah, we saw that happen yesterday. We saw the incident middle of the day yesterday. We saw late in the races where drivers were using that almost like setting a pick. Take a look at this, though, as Weida now is going to pop to the inside, but Cal Stewart's motor just pulls. Weida may have to stay in the draft a little longer, but we saw how well he could brake against DeVries. Let's see if he tries those brakes against Stewart.
Well, he's worked it here before beautifully. Here he goes, looks to the inside, opts not to. And side-by-side battle for the final podium spot. DeVries braving it around the outside. Alexander positioned on the inside, but DeVries had a little bit better exit speed and is able to take back that third spot. And that's what we've seen from Weida a few times. He gets that great run up the hill and then has to pull out or he's going to run into the back, but he doesn't want to lose that momentum.
Right.
So he tucks back in, and every once in a while he pops back in again and comes after it. And we just got a report that Jay Beckley, unfortunately, has had to pit. Look at this! Around the outside goes Weida. Wow. Well, if you can't do it under braking on the inside, just round them up.
And well, Cal was defending the inside.
Yeah.
Weida said, fine, you want that inside, I'll take it. He used all the curbing on the exit, which is treacherous in these cars with such a narrow track. They're only 55 inches wide from the outside of each wheel. Very narrow cars. Those bumps tend to throw them around, but look at this now. Good exit there at 5 has led to Weida having now a couple of car lengths as now the battle for second starts to heat up.
Yeah, and what Weida wants is exactly this. He wants to see DeVries and Ethan Alexander attacking on Calvin Stewart, occupying our two-time gold medalist's attention a little bit here and let Weida just drive off. And you were talking earlier about these road tax machines.
Yeah.
They are carbureted. You got to get your jetting right. I think he hit it on the nose.
And yeah, he did, but his handling is spot on. He used the curbs, the exit of 5, right there at the kink. He's using some of the curbs confidently, even with a number of car lengths of lead, still able to do that. He's confident on the brakes. Right now, Weida's setup is working well.
Yeah, he's got it dialed at this stage. And so good, as you said, coming out of the turns. You can see Calvin on that long run from the exit of the carousel through the kink down into Canada, made up a little bit of ground. but then Wida just on acceleration is just gone. And I'll tell you what, you're right about Jason Martin.
Yes.
He is glomming on to this group at the back here. He has set he just set the fastest third sector of this race and is showing some serious pace here.
And he's right now in the shadows of Aaron Ellis, who's typically one of the slipperier cars. Ellis and Stewart often are the highest trap speed. Ellis has it for the race at a $1:44.4. Jason Martin is in his shadows now, which helps pull him on the straightaways. Jason may reset fastest lap next time around, the way I'm seeing it. These guys are now into the 19s. Wida just set fastest lap at a 19.7.
That is booking. I mean, the qualifying was a 2:19.1 by Stewart. So obviously this cool air does not hurt. It's dense and the oxygen is packed in there. These, any motor in cooler air is going to make a little bit more power, and it tends to be a little bit more draggy. But let's watch this down into turn 5. And it looks like Wida's got it covered. Let's go back and take a look, in fact, at how he made that pass. Look at that. He was looking to the inside, got Stewart to take the bait, and right around the outside, Larry.
And look how he uses the rumbly curves, the exit confidently. The car doesn't even twitch out there. He's got that thing so well hooked up right now.
Yeah, they obviously dialed in a fabulous setup. These guys at the back, we're talking about Ellis and Martin. They're closing on this group up front. All that battling is going to be slowing them down. And as they come up and they start really attacking, this could get really interesting here. We're only about halfway. This has been one fabulous race.
Yeah, and Wida right now is so thrilled. He gave a couple of jabs there to Cal Stewart, finally got one of them to stick, and now he's hoping the rest of the guys fight it with Cal behind him, because Cal's obviously the threat. Defending champ of the class is a rocket ship in a straight line. So right now, Wida's hoping that everybody else has to chase Cal and they can continue to fight with him. But I think it's going to be Aaron Ellis and Jason Martin in a minute. Look at the gaps. They're all closing down. Ellis is really moving quick, and his Red Ellis, his own designed bodywork on that chassis. And then, of course, Jason Martin, who's just wheeling that thing now that he's got heat tires.
Yeah, and, these things, they're starting, those guys in the back, starting to get close enough where they might be getting a whiff of a little toe here, a little draft, and that's going to speed. Oh, big wiggle there. Stewart pushing awfully hard through Billy Mitchell, ran a little wide at the exit, and just dropped a tire. You can see that car wobble for a second, and that's going to give Wida a great opportunity. And let's see, does Wida do it again? Does he set another fast lap? Just waiting for timing to click here at 2:19 flat on that one.
Wow, yeah, he's under the qualifying time that Cal Stewart said at the 19.1. So Wida all hooked up. Motors working, chassis working. Right now, the battles have all toned down as the field is, I don't want to say spread out, but they've just sort of stabilized at this point between DeVries, not quite at the back of Stewart. Alexander's given a couple of car lengths, but look at Aaron Ellis. That's going to be the next battle here, is the Aaron Ellis, Jason Martin on the back of Ethan Alexander.
So let me ask this question. These cool conditions, these are small tires. They rotate unbelievably fast.
Yeah.
What do they have to do, if anything, in terms of thinking about the tires?
If this were a hotter day, if we were here at the sprints, I'd say they may be managing tires, but here it's barely even 60, not even 60 degrees yet this morning, and a lot of the track is still shadowed. Certainly everything from the kink all the way down through Canada is these guys can continue to be aggressive on these things. They'll stay at a very good grip level throughout this entire race. So at this point, I think they've settled down because they've all just sort of maybe gotten into that little bit of a groove. Cal has settled down, which allows his pace to pick back up with his focus on Wida out front. Everyone else, it's coming. Here's Jason Martin is going to want to get on that podium. He's going to want to prove that he was no fluke last year, what he did.
Look at DeVries attacking on Cal Stewart again. DeVries is really good through turn 8. He is rolling a lot of exit speed and is able to really attack on Cal there. And look at Jason Martin in the background using every inch of that racetrack trying to close this down. Ellis now getting a really good pull from Alexander. Alexander a wiggle. The exit of the kink. That's what we're talking about with those short wheelbases.
Yeah, that was just crazy to watch that little bit of a twitch. Quick hands on that young man. Look at Jason Martin to look into the inside of Ellis, but there's nothing there. Ellis really stable right now. That car is just its own little rocket ship.
The other question about, this track is known to be absolutely brutal on brakes. Obviously, you come from these huge, long straights into massively heavy braking zones. How about the brakes on these? Pretty
Yeah,
good?
the brakes are typically pretty durable. You got to watch though in the long run. You know, we're talking about qualifying sessions this
Right.
week where they only got in the best session they got about 7 laps. In the other 2 sessions they only got about 2 or 3. So they haven't really been able to test much. Now, a lot of these guys, because we're all from the upper Midwest, they come here for the sprints, they come here for the Cat Major. So they've got experience here, but still, you may in a long run of a 13-lap race have to watch it. Look at Alexander out defending. Look at Jason Martin right in the back of Ellis too.
Yeah, Martin got a tremendous run out of 14. I thought he might have enough to just be able to make the move. Couldn't do it, but here comes Ellis down to the inside, and the guy that might have the drive right, and he had to check up, was Martin. He had that absolutely set to square up and go to the throttle early, and Aaron Ellis, with eyes in the back of that helmet, just knew exactly where to place that car of his, and it worked.
Well, we might see 3 wide coming here because Jason Martin would like to clear both of these. Aaron Ellis was already in front of Ethan, but watch that third car.
Oh, he's good on the brakes. Watch him now, see what he can do up the hill. If you can get position on the inside to 6, he didn't get enough of a run out of 5 to be able to do that.
His car doesn't seem to have the pull off of the corners like we would have expected him to have.
Yeah.
He's really a wheel man. He's throwing around, but you're just watching on the straightaways. Ellis has an advantage to watch Ethan Alexander be able to pull up the hill coming out of 5 on Jason. The motor's just not pulling, but look at this.
Making a big lunge. Came from just a little bit too far back there to make that one work. A 2:18.8 for Weeda last time by. That margin is up to 2.6 seconds.
Big
Man, he is
twitch.
flying. Yeah.
Big for Ethan Alexander there in the carousel. That's what I was talking about. The way these things, again, they're like their rear end has go-kart characteristics. It is not just a frame like a kart. There is moving suspension, but the fact that axle is completely locked means the car has to move around in order to even turn.
All right, down through the gears for the Suzuki's into Canada corner. Now feeding it out there. Weeda's coming up on a lapped machine as well. Hopes he obviously wants to clear that as quickly as he can, not get held up a little bit. It'll be interesting to see what Aaron Ellis's time is this time by.
Yeah, it could be a really solid lap time here, getting a bit of that draft on the back straight before he made that pass on Alexander. I'm waiting for Cal Stewart to sort of really get into his groove. He just set his own, the fastest lap at the first sector on the lap that he's on. A pretty good second sector, but still only a 2:20.0 DeVries actually at the 19.7s that lap. What I'm expecting to see is for Cal Stewart to get back in, and now we're going to go 3 wide.
Yep, that was it. Cal had to lift a little bit for the lapped car, and DeVries just massive. I mean, he made that move so abruptly, that thing slid just a little bit.
Yep.
And now trying to break the toe, knowing how fast Calvin is with that very slippery Nova blade, as they call it, and trying to fend him off, and just couldn't do it. Calvin just drove right around the outside of him. Now he's protecting.
Yeah. And I think that car they went past, that might have been Jack
Look at this
Walbron.
move. Look at this move. And that was really well done by Sven de Vries, Larry. He saw Calvin go in middle of the track and defend. That's going to slow his exit. And he said, I'm just going to absolutely diamond this corner and pick that throttle up early. Beautiful.
He's watched Cal make that same sort of move a couple of times, and this time able to capitalize on it. Let's see if Cal can come back at him, as we expect Cal to have the better straight line speed, especially going down towards Canada. Can he get the move going into Canada corner here this time around, or is Cal's pace just dropped a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, look at de Vries. He senses opportunity, and he just has that thing pinned right now. And he is going to have to, he needs to get through the kink incredibly well, because look how fast Calvin is coming. I mean, that machine is so quick in a straight line. Both of them absolutely at it. You can be sure. I'll tell you what, if I was Sven de Vries, I'd make sure and get Calvin as close to that oil dry as I can.
He's trying. Look at where he's positioned
now
himself.
it's a braking duel. Got him. Made it stick and got the exit right, too. Beautiful move. Sven de Vries up into that second spot now, and with a little bit of a margin. And, of course, that little duel, that's brought Aaron Ellis just that smidge bit closer, too. But Martin has dropped way off. Alexander and Martin, they've dropped off by about 2 seconds there.
Yeah, I think they battled a little bit back there, and then Aaron Ellis able to leave them behind. de Vries, great job on the brakes there, going out of Canada to hold Calvin off. But here comes Cal again. That rocket in a straight line at 144, 145 mile an hour straight line speed. Here it comes.
And he's going to pop to the outside, but now it becomes a braking duel. And that seems to go the way of Sven de Vries. And indeed, he hangs on to it. And he just needs to when he gets to turn 5 now, assuming he's still in the lead, he just has to drive that absolute brilliant run all the way through the carousel and just build that gap up. And he's hoping Aaron Ellis will close up on the back of Calvin Stewart, of course, and maybe occupy him a little bit more here, which is not out of the realm of possibility, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're going to keep it up. We got just about 3 laps to go in this. De Vries doing a good job at this stage. Take opportunities and be aggressive. Aaron Ellis, though, would love to get a podium if he can get around Cal Stewart. They're both rockets in a straight line, so this is going to be a pretty fair fight. But look at this. Ellis aggressive.
Yeah, he showed the nose right there. I don't think that was any kind of an intent of actually making the pass, but he just wanted to get that little red flash in Calvin's mirrors and try and get him thinking about it. If you do that just right, sometimes it's just that little momentary lapse by the guy in front, just misses that braking point a smidge or that turn-in point and then runs a little wide. And, this is, racing is, it's bravery, it's feel, it's all that, but it's also a mental game.
Oh, there's a lot of gamesmanship. When you can get into somebody's mirrors and get them to just blink and look somewhere else. They miss that turn-in, as you say. They can miss a downshift. That's all it takes. Aaron trying to use those tools against Cal Stewart.
And now Stewart, Ellis, de Vries, they're all going to be dealing with that lap traffic that Wida is handling traffic beautifully. Some of that's just dumb luck where you catch it.
Yeah.
But Wida has just managed it absolutely superbly as he now comes through. We're going to be starting lap 12 of 13. 2 to go. And James Wida takes that beautiful Scorpion S1 up and across the line here. And remember this, folks, he started 6th.
Yes, exactly it. Not the greatest qualifying position. And even at the start was a little bit further back, and he just poured it on, got around a couple of these guys to take this lead, made a great mover on the outside of Cal Stewart to be in the position that he's in. Now, though, look at Stewart. He's recovered a little bit. He's pulled ahead of Ellis. Now he's pressuring back up on Sven.
And there is Aaron Ellis in that red Ellis, as it's called, right behind out of Farmington, Minnesota. And it's going to be interesting to see just how this all plays out. I'll tell you what, one of the things, for Wida, obviously they got the clutching and the jetting absolutely spot on. But, on a cold day where grip is low and you see somebody that can run laps like this, that just tells you of the talent of James Wida here.
Yeah, there's no question about Wida's talent. But look at this. Cal thought he had an opportunity. Sven protects that inside.
Yeah. Tell you right now, Sven has been really, like Wida, has been really good on the brakes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thinking Sven maybe wishing he had a little bit more motor right now, watching those 2 fast cars coming up behind him, but he's done a good job here defending his lines.
This scrap for the second and third, final 2 medal positions. Oh, and Ellis really closing on the brakes down into turn 8. Wow.
The trap speed for Cal Stewart in the shadows of Sven de Vries the last time down the back straight, 147.5 miles an hour. with your tail end about 1.5 inches off the ground. Cal Stewart is screaming.
That's getting into supercart speeds, isn't it? That's just unbelievable right now. And here's where Calvin just has so much speed. And de Vries again is going to defend, try and get Calvin to pop over, have to deal with that oil drive. But Calvin, just enough, clears them. But look at Sven, dives to the inside. You can see that. As soon as Cal went by, Sven just moved to the left, got right to the edge of that oil drive, and then squared that corner up. I'll tell you what, Sven is driving a brilliant race here. And that little exchange, look at Aaron Ellis.
Yep, Aaron is right back in this again. Great job by de Vries. Cal had a car in front, but you watched Cal brake. The car had a bit of a twitch. I think he had to back off the brakes, set up the corner exit a little slow. Sven takes advantage.
White flag, 1 to go here in the run to the gold in Formula 600. And James Wida going to keep an eye on what that margin is here. It's down a little bit. It's down to 2.7.
Cal Stewart, though, able to motor on past Sven there on the straightaway. But trust me, these last 3 are not over yet. This is it. White flag lap.
This is going to be fascinating. And Wida, that last lap, backed it off just a little bit here. Understandably, he has been pushing it so hard. But now, here we go. The battle for the silver and the bronze. Ellis, boy, he, as you said, he'd love to steal one here if he could. I'll tell you what, Calvin is coming after Weeda here.
Weeda's definitely backed off quite a bit. Cal Stewart just reset fastest first sector to 39.4 to Weeda's 40.6. There's a definite thing happening for Weeda. Maybe he's just hearing or feeling something and wants to get this thing to the end. These three guys.
Boy, that twitch by Stewart on the brakes.
Yes.
That's unnerving. When the brake, when you go to the brake and the car starts really moving around.
Yeah.
But watch here now. Watch for Weeda. Watch him on the exit. This is where he just gets a look at that.
Yeah, Sven doing a great job. Gets that power down, pulls to that other side. Can't go anywhere though, as Cal drives a pretty fast and wide car.
Yep. And now at this spot, this is where Cal, as soon as he clears the kink, you can just see the outright pace of that blade. Ooh, using up every ounce of track. Yeah. It's going to have to be an amazing braking job here by Weeda, or by DeVries. Look at Aaron. I'm going to use every bit of racetrack.
exit speed, though.
Oh, he's good there, isn't he?
He's got a lot of exit speed. He may be thinking he can pressure Cal, but he still have to brake one more time into 14. Sven's going to make him think about it.
Ooh, he goes to the inside. If he can pinch Calvin's run in, he does. Calvin really could not swing out and get the run he wanted. Here comes Ellis. Ellis might be able to do something with both of them. He had a tremendous run up the hill. It's going to be Weeda getting the gold. Looks like Calvin Stewart in that motor is going to jump into second. Aaron Ellis grabs the final medal in third out of the last corner, Larry.
Oh, opportunity. Aaron Ellis using it. That is beautiful stuff. And Jason Martin here is going to come in a very good fifth place. But Aaron Ellis watched what happened in front of him. DeVries couldn't get that exit run. Aaron taking advantage. That was awesome.
That was. And at the end, it took a while, but Jason Martin was able to move up and get that final spot in the top 5. Good run for him. Ethan Alexander in 6th. And Keith Joslin, dead last, up into 8th. And just ran out at that point, probably just ran out of everything on that car trying to get up there like that.
I'm so happy for Keith to get that car running and get into that top 10. That's just thrilling for a guy who has a couple of great Super Tours in the last 2 years. The struggles this week, had a voltage issue on the car, kept shutting off on him. Great job for him.
Here's Jack Walbron, who is probably the most experienced guy in this category. He's been doing it a long time. This is his 32nd runoff start. He comes through and takes that checkered flag.
That's Steve Jondal. He's another one had issues. Swap motors twice this week between the qualifying sessions, was saying he's never seen turn 5 because every time someone coming out of 3, the motor's got a problem. So happy for Steve Jondal to be able to get himself a finish in the top 10 in 9th spot.
Yeah, nice job. Nice job indeed. So, yeah, Steve Jondal, he's been I've been watching him for a lot of years. He comes out of Rushford, Minnesota, Land O'Lakes region, and doing a nice job. So, wow, what a show. They often put one on here, and this was an absolutely dynamic battle for that first half between the Rotax machine that had all that pull coming out of the corners, and Weeda absolutely on it. I mean, he was feeling it. He was willing to take the risks and do everything he could up against Stewart, and who was just absolute rocket ship in a straight line.
Great job for Weeda. Unbelievable to be able to come back here and win another championship here at Road America in spectacular fashion. To come from behind, let the car come to you. First race the day it's cold, to get it warmed up and let it go. But the battle that we'll call it top 6 really laid in for us. We had something to watch.
Yeah.
This is spectacular racing. These drivers are just incredible. They're all experienced in these cars. The cars are a lot of fun. I just bought one of these cars. So while the
and when he says he just bought it, I mean like 20 minutes ago.
Literally, I've got a guy picking the car up this morning while we went to Green Flag, and that's when I'm getting my race car. I'm so thrilled. And while the future here may be questionable for how this is going to go, these guys are enjoying the moment now. This has been so much fun to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, for Sven DeVries, qualified second. So wanted to be able to string another one together. Just couldn't quite make it happen. But that Wida apartment Scorpion for the number 22 of James Wida, that is an achievement. And again, coming from 6th.
Yeah.
And the last gold medal he had was right here at Road America when it was Formula 500 in 2013. So he's waited a while to get that second
Last
gold.
year, he was actually a part of that Jason Martin and Cal Stewart battle until his car gave out midway through that race. He's had some other mechanical issues over the years. This is going to be so satisfying for him to come back and put the stamp to win here.
You got to wonder if I mean, obviously his car control is immaculate.
Yeah.
And I got to, folks, because of these things being short wheelbase with the speeds we're seeing 147.5 miles an hour, you've got to have absolute phenomenal car control to be fast in these, and a lot of confidence. But would that two-cycle engine, are these conditions really conducive to them?
If you can jet it right, it is great conditions. And we've had in the mornings pretty consistent. We've been low 50s to mid 50s pretty much every day, except one of the days it was down in the 40s. And that helps because you get that experience with the jetting. And he's got one of the best guys working with him, Mel Winnie. Mel does snowmobile tuning up in northern Michigan all winter, and he helps these guys all year. James, I'm sure, is going to be talking about Mel and the work that he does to help this race car go fast. And Mel helps everybody. He's out there with all the two-stroke guys all week long. And James, the rest of the setup, motor aside, his setup looks spectacular. Oh. The pass he made on Cal, the grip, the consistency, using the curbs if you needed, it all worked.
Yep, second gold medal going around the neck of James Wida, the Hoosier necklace as well. And let's get down to Hayward Wagner to talk to our champion.
James, catching your breath, you're sitting 6th on this grid. When did you start to think this could be your race?
Pretty much knew since the test day. The car was handling great. I told my motor guy Mel over there, I said, the car's handling great. We may not have the straight line speed, but I think I'll be able to pass whoever I want, whenever I want.
Now, obviously, you're running the two-stroke motor, which is maybe counterintuitive at this point in time in the class, but certainly made it work. Why did you go with this package?
Well, I just stuck with the package. It's always been this way in this class, so I figured why not stick with it. Obviously, it works. You just got to work your butt off on it. I like the two-stroke. I started go-karting with two strokes, so it doesn't bother me a bit.
Well, congratulations on the championship, a gold medal. I'm sure you have a couple people you need to thank real quick.
Yeah, I'd like to thank my wife and my kids. They come let me do this. My motorman, Mel, Chris Jennerjohn, his Uncle Kenny makes me drinks at night, keeps me, ready to go in the morning. And Carbotech Brakes, Hoosier Tire, Mitchell Racing, they all do a great job for me.
Well, tires and brakes are important, but Uncle Kenny is importanter. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow, what an absolute run. And yeah, as you called it, talking about Mel, and we're going to take a look at the results here. And I got to tell you, as you see Wida over Stewart and Ellis, your medals, Sven DeVries and Jason Martin, good fight up into that top 5. Ethan Alexander, Eric McCree, Keith Jocelyn from dead last to 8, Stephen John Dahl, and George Bugg rounding out your top 10. And I love that he was talking about Mel. I'm going to talk more about that in a minute, but let's get back down once again to Hayward with our second and third place finishers.
Galvin Stewart, always smiling, always having fun out here, but your words are so close. How does this one feel?
So close, but yet so far. We had just got outside of the draft. I was fighting with Sven. He got away. We couldn't reel him back in. I shouldn't have let him go that far away. But it was a great race. I got to hand it to Wida. He turned in some really fast times. I got to hand it to Sven and Aaron. It was an awesome race. We had a ball. My tires were starting to go a little bit, but we had a great time. Praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus, for allowing us to be out here doing this. And I thank Hoosier Tires and Carbotech Brakes and my wife and SabbathTruth.com and Jim Frank and Frank Griffith for helping me out and everyone that got us here. And, it was a great time. I wish we were just a little bit closer. That's all.
Well, congratulations on the silver. We're going to bring bronze finisher Aaron Ellis on up. Aaron, you seem to embody the right place, right time mentality of this race.
Yeah, started off a little cautious, I guess, but had some of the fastest lap I think towards the end, so it was running good. Just kind of biding my time there again, but a little too far back to catch James or Calvin at the end. So
This is your second Runoffs podium, a bronze this time. Congratulations.
thank you.
All right, that's it. Your medals have been assigned here. I want to say real quick about the, Mel and the clutching.
Yeah.
When I was doing snowmobile racing, Blair Morgan, who was the guy racing for Skidoo, his mechanic was a clutch guru, and literally Blair would come in, park the sled, George would go over, open it up, pull the clutch off, put it in a box he would lock, and take it and put it in the truck. And Blair was known for hole shots.
Yeah.
It's that important.
Those secrets are super important,
You
and
bet.
it's critical to everything. And you watch. Let's go back and watch this replay here. As Cal started out early, but you see in the back there a couple others. You see Jocelyn way in the back coming through, and early on we thought maybe this was Cal's race.
Yeah, but then we just said, not so fast, my friend, and just was absolutely diabolically good on the brakes. And then that outside pass, that was the one. He tried it a couple of times in that one. He said, I'm going. And you can see how quick up the road he got, helped by Sven de Vries diving inside Calvin Stewart. And they went side by side darn near through turn 6, and then had this absolutely great duel. Couple of times, de Vries was able to fend him off going in there, but that time Calvin got it. But then de Vries squared it up beautifully on the exit. But finally, you're going to watch this here as Calvin, and this was that moment here when Calvin, he got pinched to the inside. He knew de Vries was out there, and look at this run by Ellis.
Yeah, great job by Stewart to hold that line and push de Vries to the curbing on the exit. Ellis, opportunity knocks, and he goes right through that door and takes that podium.
Yeah, I mean, it was a strategic race on so many levels, and it was a race of absolute car control and bravado by James Weida up front. Like you said, I like two-strokes. I started with them. They don't bother me a bit. I know how to drive them, and I would agree. Once again, a huge thank you to Mazda for presenting our coverage of this 60th running of SCCA's National Championship Runoff. I'm Greg Creamer, and for Larry and for Hayward down in the pits, thank you so much for joining us in the run to the gold in Formula 600. James Weida, what a run.
Choose joy. Choose the road. Choose your people. Choose your shot. Take it. Choose to get in there. Even better, get out there. That's it. Way out there. Choose your calling. Choose to really care. Choose to go for it. Just choose. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
I wake up.
Picture your perfect garage. How many cars are in there? Great, great. Now picture reality. How many cars can you actually have? Me too. With SCCA Club Spec, one car becomes your daily, your track car, your autocross car, even your time trials car. S197 Mustang if you like V8s and torque, NC Miata if you like compact and agile. SCCA Club Spec, spirited dailies, competitive race cars. Learn more at scca.com. Picture your perfect garage. How many cars are in there? Great, great. Now picture reality. How many cars can you actually have? Me too. With SCCA Club Spec, one car becomes your daily, your track car, your autocross car, even your time trials car. S197 Mustang if you like V8s and torque, NC Miata if you like compact and agile. SCCA Club Spec, spirited dailies, competitive race cars. Learn more at scca.com.
joy. Choose your calling. Choose to really care. Choose to go for it. Just choose. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
I wake up.